Research is medicine's field of dreams, from which we harvest the findings that give hope to families that there is a cure, there is hope. The real terrorist people are afraid of is not Al-Qaeda coming into their neighborhood. It is that there will be another phone call that comes into their living room telling them that there is another disease which has come into their family, which is going to wreak the same kind of disaster that did to those from the previous generation in that family. That is the protection against the terror that families feel that we have to find a solution to. In the 1960s, we created a mission to the moon, and we were successful. We did it in 10 years. Now we need a mission to the mind that we will use as a way of giving families the hope which they need that there is a solution. Senator Blumenthal, who is here, represents the kind of this infusion of energy into this issue. And I think that we really have a tremendous opportunity here. My mother died from Alzheimer's, and it's very hard when your mother has Alzheimer's or your father. We kept my mother in the living room. My father was a milkman. My mother was a valedictorian. My mother had to not go to college when she was 17 because my grandmother died in 1925, and my mother just had to stay home. One of the girls had to stay home to raise the younger three girls. That was the social safety net before Franklin Delano Roosevelt. When she finally did get married 20 years later, my father, the milkman, was the guy who was there, like 4 years younger than her, and married my mother. And when I said to my father, should we put Ma in a nursing home, about 4 or 5 years into her having Alzheimer's, my father said, Eddie, it was an honor that your mother married me. Your mother will never step foot in a nursing home. We're keeping her here in the living room. And at age 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, she stayed right in our living room. And that was because my father, the milkman, had an arm, a right arm, the size of most people's legs. And a 220-pound, 6-foot man can take care of a 130-pound woman. But the opposite is not true. And the opposite is not actually, the opposite is actually the case in most families, okay? These people are heroes, but heroes need help and they need hope. My mother would always say to me, Eddie, you have to learn how to work smarter, not harder. This is the valedictorian to me as a boy. And then she would say, I'm thinking about donating your brain to Harvard Medical School as a completely unused human organ, okay? And so that was her message. So in 2012, when last year we spent $130 billion of Medicare and Medicaid money on treating people, helping families with Alzheimer's, and $469 million on trying to find the cure. That means for every $3.50 that we spent on taking care of people with it, we spent $1, 1 cent, okay, in trying to find the cure, okay? And that's just not working smarter. That's working harder, especially since that's an era where there's only 5 million people right now with Alzheimer's. And the irony of that disease, of course, is that it's the one disease where the people who have the disease cannot lobby for themselves. And there's one other person in the family who has to stay home with them. And by the time we reach 15 million with Alzheimer's, when all the baby boomers have retired, that'll be 15 million plus one other family member, 30 million Americans whose number one reality will be Alzheimer's. Now, what do? We have to have a cure. We have to infuse the funding that will make it possible for us. The children will have to look to the history books to find that there ever was such a disease as Alzheimer's. So if we want to avoid a fiscal catastrophe in 20 or 30 years where the total cost to the federal government is $700 or $800 billion per year for one disease, just to take care of those people, equal to the entire defense budget of our country, then we have to do something now. And that's what Sprint is all about. That's what the Vradenburgs are all about, Merle Comer is all about. And the members that you see here, but there will be many more behind us who will ensure that we telescope the time frame that it takes in order to find the solution to this problem, because failure is not an option, not only for those families, but for the federal budget. And we just have to learn how to work smarter, not harder. We thank all of you.